Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm just showing you the underpainting portion of this big painting I'm working on, 16 by 20 inch canvas, of course using gouache on a prepped canvas board using the Daniel Smith watercolor ground paste. In this video, I'm just going to be talking about my process. Might get off track as I normally do, so yeah. I'm starting off this painting how I normally do by sketching my photoshopped composition I created. And I am using watercolor pencils because they blend in with the gouache easily, so there won't be any graphite marks left over. I actually have a video from a year ago or something like that where I talk about how I start a more complex painting. I will link that video here as well as in the description. It talks about how I go through Photoshop, create my own reference photos by putting a bunch of pictures together to make one surreal image, and then I just use that as my reference photo. I am doing something different than I normally do, which is paint on canvas board. Normally I paint on illustration board. I'll rant about that later, but long story short, I couldn't find illustration board in the size I wanted, so I just went with canvas board, and I had some watercolor ground laying around and prepped that onto the canvas board. Watercolor ground basically allows you to paint on any surface you want with watercolor, gouache, basically anything that is very water soluble. You could paint over it with acrylic paint, but it's like you just use regular gesso, I guess. So yeah, basically this allows you to paint on wood, metal, plastic, anything with watercolor and gouache. So that's pretty cool. I will have the watercolor ground as well as a list of all of my other materials in the description below. I made a mistake doing this. Okay, so I should have just left the center part green or like a lighter outline, because I outlined the border with the cupids and, well, I guess they're cherubs, and the banners with black watercolor pencil, and I did that specifically because it's going to be textured as if it's a US dollar bill, and that would add to the effect. The center, however, is going to be realism, and black outlines around realism, not good. I just wasn't thinking, and I just kept doing what I was doing. Don't do this if you want realism. As you can see, I am going in with a very cool toned green for the border, and that is because, like I said previously, this is going to be textured and shaded as if it's a dollar bill. And I am making it cooler green than warmer green because I just like it better, and also I think money, technically speaking, is a cooler toned green. I think when money is really, really green looking, it looks more fake, so I don't know. I didn't even think about that. I was just like, ew, I don't like that warm tone green, and then I realized, oh, that's why. Because I actually looked at some cash I had, and I was like, yeah, it's cooler toned. Life of an artist. You're just observing dumb crap like this. Okay. Okay, so I think right here I'm going to include my rant I talked about earlier in this video about the whole canvas board thing. So if you don't want to listen to that, I will link a timestamp in the comments section below. Anyways, I was searching high and low everywhere for illustration board that was one, the correct thickness. I did not want thin illustration board because guess what? It's not illustration board in my eyes anymore. It's just matte board and it's crappy and I hate it. So that's how I feel. Second of all, I could not get it at that thickness at a size that I wanted. I wanted it pre-cut because I don't have all the supplies I wish I had, and hopefully that changes soon, but as of right now, I'm cutting things with an X-Acto knife, and guys, I suck. I've always sucked at, like, cutting shapes out and, like, oh god, cutting a straight line. No, I'm terrible at it, so no. In fact, I'm so bad at it. At one of the shows I went to, we had a friend with us who's a carpenter, and I had him freehand like cut board for the backing on my prints I was going to sell, and he just freehanded the most straight line I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, you know what? I'm never gonna be able to do that unless I buy equipment to do that. Okay, short break on the rant. I just wanted to say right here I am using watercolor pencils just to set the undertone in the poppies. I used red because I realized, oh, I screwed up at this point when I mixed it together and there was black outlines and I was like, oh no. I could have just used gouache to do that. I don't know why I did watercolor I don't know. You guys. I don't know. I kind of forgot my process right here. But later on, when I started using the watercolor pencils like I normally do, by just using them to set the undertones, like a blue watercolor pencil in the shadows, orange where there's direct sunlight, that's normally what I do. After doing that, it fixed it a little bit, and then the rest was just a whole process trying to mask those outlines I did. Oh my god. Anyways, back to the rant. So I literally could not find the stuff I normally paint on in a very common size, like a very standard frame size, and it was just like question marks. I was like, what? Why? What the hell? So I was upset. Okay, not as upset as I was when I bought hundreds of pens I couldn't even use for my art. That's a rant video I already have, and I will link it here if you want to hear about that. But anyways, I just bought canvas board and prepped it with my watercolor ground. Now, it's something I already had laying around, and I was like, okay, I'll buy 3 of these canvas boards and figure it out. I plan on doing a whole series of this kind of stuff, so I'm not sure if I'll keep buying the canvas boards, but in the moment, I just wanted to get new supplies because I needed to get started on this project, and that's what my options were, really. Is the watercolor ground an investment and, like, not cheap? Yeah. But I mean, so are my paints, you know, and they withstand the test of time, so I already owned it, and I was like, okay, problem solve, using my brain, and just like use that on a different surface so I can paint still. I felt like that was a better option than investing in stuff to cut large pieces of illustration board. I do have some like smaller cutting things that are meant for like scrapbooking and things like that, but with the type of thickness I like in my illustration board, plus the size I would need, I would have to have a big setup, and I don't want to do that. So hopefully that makes sense. My God, whenever I start these voice recordings, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then I end up talking too much. How? Anyways, so I went in with some red gouache after I placed the undertones with the watercolor pencils. And I think that helped out a lot, to be honest, because you can tell just with the undertones I placed with the pencils there, and then putting a sheer wash of red gouache over the top, it's already starting to get some dimension, and that's why I love using this method. It's already starting to get some dimension and makes for a great map for the lighting, so I can continue layering. So once I'm done adding just a thin layer of gouache all over the painting with the general colors that are going on in the photoshopped reference image I created, I'm done with the underpainting, and from here on I'm mainly going to use gouache with the exception of some watercolor pencils to adjust any undertones as I move along. I also added some purple to the shadows just to adjust the mood of the painting to match the reference photo I made. And I hope this video was at least entertaining. I know I'm not really doing any step-by-step tutorial type videos. If that's something you want to watch, I do have some on my channel. I will probably make more in the future, so no worries there. But anyways, thanks for watching these just kind of chill videos. Yeah. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down and maybe take a nap. Okay, bye! See you next week.